This is Arukh showing you there, Siman Mem Aleph, Sif Yud Ches Techav Aleph. And this is supplemental day 299 of the HaShulchan Yomi cycle. And today's HaShulchan Yomi is sponsored for a merit, for a schus, for the right zivug for Rabbi Yonasan Ezra ben Chana Feigel, and should be zorcha to find her Bekarov Mamish. Yud Ches, he's three alcohols. What if the liver has worms? I feel even the worms also came up those places of the two olives. Shemokamora in the place of the gallbladder, Shemokachusa place of the life force, which says two different places. But they made holes, they're kosher. Even the rest of the liver is not there. They only have these two lobs left. They also were pierced by worms in the gvum. They made holes, kosher. The kosher chisan, right? They told him 8 times the missing parts are through worms. Not by another illness. Eventually get healed. It's too short. So that's Rashba Zabatar Sabais. It's Rashba. But those arguments say only if the rest of the liver is intact. And even if you have holes on account of worms in the two zaysim, these two zaysim, say it's kosher. If you only have these two olive words left, also pierced by worms, you have to ask, and that's the law of the Bedek Habayis. That's where you should paskin. That's it's for short. I feel called even the entire liver is full of worms. Shenikvu, which cause holes. And nikvu at the loim kosher. But as long as the entire liver is intact, then even it's full of worms, it's kosher. Okay, it's only those two zaysim, only the two zaysim left, and they have worms. And it's a problem. That's based on Rashi Daf Mem Ches and Shach. Your test. Kasa Bahag. The Bahag writes, Hechi the Avi Kavda, since where the liver is thick. Chazina look at the lung. Yechiva Kamar Gufna, if it is white like cotton trefa. Bisumka, if it is red hadra or beer, it's going to get healed again. Kshera Kalasharo. Somebody should bring this back, they reject it. The Ran and Rabbeinu Yerucham and the Beisaisiv. There are those who they're concerned with what he says. Because all have his, many times he said, the HaShulchan says all the time, the Bahag called Varv Divrei Kabbalah. That's from the Bach. Not Varv Tmim. But it's astonishing. What does the lung have to do with the liver? Besides that, if the lung is white like cotton, anyway, regardless of the liver. Maybe he's being terse or brief, or he could have expanded. He said, we look at the lung, the marashal al hakaveh, how it looks on the liver. This means to say, if the liver is bloated and thick, harpe, to a large extent, showing geshvalin, so that it's completely ruined. We look at the liver imulavan, if it's white, so means it's in fact completely ruined. If it's red, hajabarya, it's going to get healed again. It's kosher. And all the person will agree with that, and that's what you should paskin. And the lung is just it's not really the rea, but rather means the re'iyah. It means mareshala. Okay, so that's what it means. So so actually it's not terse, but rather inaccurate. So let's go back in line. Really say again. The rea means the re'iyah, the mara. Okay. So again, Geshvalin means swollen, right? Geshvalin, swollen. So if it's white and swollen, it's completely ruined. If it's red, that's going to get healed. It's kosher. וזה יודו כל הפוסק could see this. כן, יש לו this way שפסק. אבל שכל גדול מידעו הרבה, but the liver is enlarged, very much so. ואין מקולקל, but it's not ruined. אין שום חשש, there's no concern. ודע, ישנו שכל של אב זה שמנה, if you have a goose liver of a thin, particularly fattened goose, nothing starts to lower, it inclines to white, nation lunisa, because if it's fat. But healthy, besides that's the way to grow, but test should big book, and it's permitted without any issue. Chav. This is what Ram writes. Kanei are covered. The tubes that are covered of the liver. Veima Zarkim, and these are the blood vessels. Shabbat Damis Bashar, which the blood gets ripe. The liver creates the blood. If one of them is pierced, it's trafe. It's not clear. The machine feel even if the liver is missing, it's okay. Except as long as it has a end quote. So there's a difficult route towards asking the Rambam, how can this be? In the first I'm close to the Sfira Rambam. So the refresher Rambam, right? The Rambam holds that which you say it's okay if the entire liver is missing. How do I boss it? That's if the flesh of the liver is missing. Obviously, first you're talking about the tubes have to be intact. I sure. That's Kesem Mishnah Bach. So Arukh HaShulchan says, my understanding is the it's not there about the tubes in the liver. The even symphonos make it. Those are called tubes below symphonos, and not what he calls here branches. Kanei covered. The liver hangs very much below the heart and the heart and the lung. And inside it, it goes for that goes from the blood vessel of the heart, and to the blood vessel of the liver. There's several blood vessels until you reach the actual liver itself. Some Chazal say it's less a kind of have it. The three of these blood vessels, large blood vessels. One goes to the heart, and one goes to the lung. One goes to the liver. All of them become treif with any type of nekev. With any type of hole. That's what he's referring to. Those kanim which interact between the heart, the lung, and the liver. Last time she'll talk about so exactly the tubes which are within the liver itself. Chavav, Machashim says Bakabit, if you find a needle in the liver. Chilku Chazal, searching where the kupa is facing towards the outside or the kupa is facing inside. But kupa, who outside of the kupa is the thick part of the needle. It doesn't pierce. Kachal Muzal. Chazal say kupa levar, if the kupa is towards the outside, the kupa noki vasoy. So then it pierces to get into the liver. Treif and strafe. Kupa legav, if the thick part is facing towards the inside, Sipon it came through a tube from outside the animal and didn't pierce any organs. This is only talking about where it's a thick head of the needle. The eye of the needle is thick. Meaning a thick needle. The eye part cannot pierce. But if it's a small needle, a thin needle, you can make a hole even through the eye. It could have come through the body and pierced organs. The trefa, the animal's trefa, no matter what. As we've seen in the past, actually there are two opposite interpretations of kupla bar kupla gav. Rashi says Varosh Vatuv Shalom Fashin kupla bar. They say the kupa towards the outside, that's when the kupa is towards the cavity of the animal. And the sharp side is towards the head. The bar perusho lebar mikaved. The bar means out towards outside the liver. And that is towards the cavity of the body. And the gab means when the thickness of the needle is towards the head, but and the sharpness is towards the the cavity of the body. Barif Rambam before Rasha Pashim Hepech. They see the opposite. The kupal of bar mikre shall kupal etzad rosh. It's where the thickness of the needles towards the head. So bar bishul bar mikol be'ema, meaning outside the cavity of the animal. Ukupal agav, and the kupa on the inside. Mikre shall kupal etzad chalo. Abeim was when the thickness is towards the cavity of the animal. And the dinner levi done. So, since we have both commentaries, both possibilities, for us in practice, it no matter what it's treif, because the difference between the commentaries, it's difficult for us to distinguish between thick needles and thin needles. Nevertheless, I have to give some explanation as to rationale of the different sides here. They both are legitimate interpretations of the sugya, and each of them have applications in halacha. So he's going to come back, and tomorrow he's going to describe what the difference is, what these two different opinions hold. But that's it for today.